Per Governor Baker's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GLC 30A, Section 20, the public will not be allowed to physically access the school committee meeting. This meeting will be conducted remotely via Zoom technology. For instructions to follow this live meeting, see the notice of meeting posted on whittiertech.org. We'll do a attendance roll call right now. Mr. Early.
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
Here.
Ms. O'Connor.
Here.
Mr. LaBella.
Yes.
Mr. Tucker. Mr. Irving.
Here.
Dr. Testaverde.
Here.
Mr. O'Connor.
Here.
Mr. James.
Here.
Mr. Fitzgerald. He's here. Yeah.
Did you say me?
Not yet. I haven't got to you yet.
No, there he is.
Sorry, I was muted.
It's true.
I'm here.
Okay. Mr. Pichera. Mr. Lesage. And I am present. Okay. We'll pledge of allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
And
and to the republic
which
for
it
which it
stands,
stands,
one nation, under God,
Indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Public comment. Comments can be emailed in advance of the 6:30 p.m. start time to lran@whittier.tech.ma.us. All comments will be recorded to the record, and all attempts will be made to mention them live during the meeting. Any emails received during the meeting before the public comment period ends will also be attempted to be mentioned. Is there any public comment? None being heard. We'll move on to approval of minutes. Minutes of the regular school committee meeting. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? We'll do an attendance. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Early.
Yes.
In the fridge.
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mr. LaBella.
Yes.
Mr. Irving.
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mr. James.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yes.
This is true.
Yes.
Okay. Minutes of the executive session for September 9th, 2020. Do we have a motion for approval?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote. Mr. Early.
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mr. LaBella.
Yes.
Mr. Irving.
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mr. James.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Mrs. True.
Yes.
Treasurer's report.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Early.
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mr. LaBella.
Yes.
Mr. Irving.
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mr. James.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Ms. True.
Yes.
Okay, move on to old business. There's no old business posted. Now we'll move on to reports and communications. Our new student representative, Alyssa Michael. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome.
There she is. Welcome.
Hi.
Go ahead and share your report. Tell us a little something about yourself.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Superintendent Lynch, and all other school committee members. My name is Alyssa Michelle, and I am from Haverhill, Massachusetts. I am a senior here at Whittier, where my technical area is engineering. I have secured a co-op job at a wastewater company called Practical Applications Incorporated and will begin my co-op experience next shop week. I am ranked in the top 5% of my class, and I am a member of the National Technical Honor Society. I look forward to working with the student government to make this year the best possible for all. From the start of my freshman year, I have been involved with many of the activities Whittier has to offer. I participated in volleyball, basketball, and softball since enrolling. I love playing all three sports, but volleyball and softball are my favorites. I am a captain on both teams and stay in touch with my teammates in hopes to have a season this year. In the meantime, we will be working with administration to organize after-school clubs in sports virtually and in person as time goes on. The staff at Whittier are working hard to ensure student safety. Social distancing is practiced by all staff and students. Masks are required at all times, but we are provided with mask breaks outdoors while remaining spread out. Arrows on the floor indicate the direction we should walk in to avoid clusters of kids. I feel safe when attending school in person, and I understand that risks are being limited by following the enforced plan. Although this year is different for all of us, school is as normal as possible under these unusual circumstances. I'm very excited to be working with Superintendent Lynch and the school committee throughout this year, and I look forward to attending future meetings with you while sharing my ideas as a student. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank
So
you.
good to have your input.
Thank you very much. We look forward to the rest of the year.
So,
We'll continue with reports and communications. Katie?
Hi, everyone. Katie Parsons. I am the active WREA president. This is 4+ years as president at this juncture. The WREA has been very active throughout the pandemic, working and reaching out to its membership in conjunction with working with the school district. We had over 55 Unit A members participate in the task force group. I have been in communication with our Unit B members, which include our custodial staff and our cafeteria workers, to ensure that they continue to feel safe and well in the building, all things considered. We had a general member meeting today, and the body has concerns, but are happy that the communication has been open with this district and that the district continues to make our workplace safe for all of us, and the working conditions, while exhausting, we're managing and floating as best we can.
Thank you. Any questions?
Well, you say this staff feels safe, and that's wonderful. I'm really glad to hear that.
I'd like to thank all the teachers that came in this summer to help work with the administration to formulate going forward during this pandemic. I think it's a definite gap in your hat to be so proactive. So thank you.
I second that, David.
I also would like to say that I think it's very positive that we have a positive faculty that is supporting the students as well as the community. And that's a statement to the kind of school we are.
Thank you, Dr. Testaverde, Mr. Irving, and Mr. James. I appreciate that. You know, on top of our school hours as a body, we're working off school hours too. And I hope that it's for the best of our community at this point and that we continue down this road.
I think we understand that you guys are going well above and beyond the call.
If I can chime in before Ms. Parsons is finished. She is finishing her presidency. She is done. So I know that this will probably be the last time you see her in this role as the president. I almost said class president, kind of.
She's that young.
I really need to compliment her. She and I have worked together as partners in bringing our kids back and addressing issues as they come up and trying to handle things with dignity and grace, and making sure that our staff do feel comfortable coming back to the building because they're the ones that are going to be taking care of our kids. And so I really want to thank you, Katie, publicly for your hard work. It has not been, you did not have much vacation time this summer because you were constantly getting calls from me and others. But I really, truly want to thank you for your hard work, and really, we're just really lucky for the Whittier community, and we thank you for your work. So thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll still be at Whittier, just not in this role.
Maybe you'll have another go-round, who knows?
Oh, Mr. Irving, please don't. I haven't even had a night off yet, Mr. Irving.
Oh, yeah.
You know what that's like.
Katie
Yes.
Dick Early, I want to
Dick.
thank you for working very closely with us and your board. It was a pleasure working with you. It really was.
Thank you, Mr. Early.
And we didn't see eye to eye all the time, but in the long run, it all worked out.
I would agree that we have an open line now, and that we're hoping that whoever comes on next will continue down that path, because it's really what's best for our community and us getting the best quality educators and the best quality education for the students in our community.
It's all for the students, and the first time I met you, I saw the glow in your eyes, and you took it from there. Thank you.
Katie, will they be electing someone soon?
So we have opened ballots today through 2 p.m. tomorrow. I am still, I have volunteered to sit on negotiations, and I have also volunteered to remain on e-board, so that we are hoping for a smooth a transition as possible as a new entire officer group joins us.
Okay. That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
With you staying on in some of those key important issues.
All right. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to come.
Superintendent's report. Ms. Litch.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the committee. Tonight, for informational purposes for you, I have a few hires: a plumbing instructor, co-op liaisons for the school year, medical tutors, Spanish translators, building aid, and resignations of a Spanish teacher, a teaching assistant, a route bus driver, and a student instructor. There is no budget update at this time. As far as MCAS, all current seniors, juniors, and sophomores do not have to take the biology MCAS exam and have passed that MCAS requirement as long as they pass the biology course at Whittier. There are 3 current seniors that still need to pass the math MCAS. Ms. Jensen, coordinator of data assessment, will file an appeal for them in November, and if the retest is offered in November, they will take it. On October 1st, the Department of Education reported that MCAS will be given during the 2021 school year for juniors and sophomores in English, math, biology, and biology for freshmen. Juniors will take the English and math exams in January 2021. Sophomores will take the English and math MCAS exams in May 2021, along with any student that did not pass in January 2021. And freshmen will take the biology MCAS in June 2021. As far as an update from me, I attended the Marvis Superintendent's remote meeting on September 10th. On September 14th, I, along with Kara Crosby, attended the remote meeting. On Wednesday, September 16th, I attended the commissioner's remote meeting. He was able to provide an update on opening of schools. Our next meeting with the commissioner is tomorrow, so it's been almost a whole month. On Thursday, September 17th, I attended the Marvis Superintendent CT Director's remote meeting. On Friday, September 18th, I attended the remote meeting with DESE regarding waitlist data. On Friday, September 18th, I attended the North Shore Superintendent's Roundtable meeting. At that meeting, we discussed ways to support one another throughout the school year. On Wednesday, September 23rd, I attended the webinar by attorney Mike Long of Long and DePietro regarding changes to Title IX. On Thursday, September 24th, I attended the Marva Superintendent's Directors remote meeting. On September 25th, I attended the Marva Board of Directors meeting. On October 1st, I attended the Marva Superintendent's Directors meeting. On Monday, October 5th, I attended the Marva Officers meeting. I've been doing a lot of Marvering.
Yes.
October 5th, I attended the question and answer with Senator Zoglio and Representative Vargas put on by the Haver Chamber of Commerce. And on Tuesday, October 13th, I attended the Merrimack Valley School meeting. That made me this reporting on our various learning models. A brief update on our hybrid learning model. I'm very proud of the staff and students. Originally, I thought mask wearing was going to be an issue, but at this point, it has not been an issue. Teachers and students take mask breaks throughout the day. I would say the issue we still need to work on is 6 feet of physical distance. I'm working with the staff and emphasizing that we need to treat everyone like they have COVID-19. That means they need to be wearing a mask at all times and staying away from one another. At this point, we've had 6 students and 3 staff members with positive test results so far this year. We currently have 4 staff members and 13 students under quarantine because they were considered close contacts to those who tested positive. It is my understanding that Haverhill will most likely continue to be red this evening. At this point, I do believe we can still move forward with in-person learning. If at any time I believe that the building is unsafe, we will move to remote learning for 2 weeks and then reevaluate. Are there any questions?
I have a question in regard to all of the meetings that you've been attending by Zoom or whatever the means that they're using. Do you feel that this may not, once COVID is over, that because we've done so much of this, that maybe we'll be doing more, that you'll have less physical traveling in your work because of the fact that we've been doing this for so long now? And then stick to it?
I will say the real positive is if I have a meeting with members of MAVA, I do not have to travel to Marlborough, so I'm not out of the building for a whole day. I'm really just losing an hour of meeting time. So there are many positives to doing remote type of meetings. So
Are the other superintendents thinking the same, in your same lines, that this may be something that maybe not every month, but every 2 or 3 months, that they would have a in-face and do the rest by a remote, just to keep in touch, etc.?
I think that that's probably how we'll move forward with many of those kinds of meetings. I don't think anyone at this point is ready to have large in-person meetings, so we really haven't gone down that road just yet.
Thank you.
Okay, so tonight before you, I have a job description. It's for a special projects assistant for MSBA. As you know, we're in the eligibility stage for MSBA, and we have a lot of work to do to get us to the feasibility stage. And we really needed to have somebody that is coordinating those efforts, especially right now, because everybody is tasked with all the other things of trying to stay in our schools. So I look for approval of this MSBA job description.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. It sounds necessary.
Yeah, oh, definitely. All right, roll call vote. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. LaBella,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
this is true.
Yes.
Okay. Want to move on to the scholarship donation, Maury?
For last year, we lost a student, David Dalkey, right, I believe in May, right before graduation. And his friends and family have set up a scholarship in his name. So I'm looking to establish that scholarship.
The chairman, I move acceptance of the scholarship. David's name, a student from Raleigh.
Second.
Okay, we have a roll call vote for the scholarship. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. LaBella,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. True.
Yes.
Okay. Director of Pupil Personnel. Ms. Lowell, Ms. Lowell.
Hello, everybody. Good
Hi,
evening,
Patty.
Mr. Chairman, the school committee, and Superintendent Lynch. I've submitted to you the enrollment counts for the 2021 school year for our October 1 report. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about your enrollments.
Patty, have we lost any students?
It's been a roller coaster summer.
I'm sure.
And September. We don't usually, as you know, Gary, we don't really lose a lot of students early in the school year, but this year we did. In September, I think as people were waiting to see what everybody was doing. And so students who had committed to us, and I think, families are just in flux. We had some moves, some students who were moving, that sort of thing. So our enrollment did surprisingly drop in the month of September, which we normally wouldn't, not by a huge amount, but like by 10, I think, or 15, which is just not usual. So that I saw, and just, through the summer, we had a very strong response to our admissions, and it held, but then we were able, because of some of that movement, we were able to open the wait list one time right before school started, and got some more students in, which was great. But then even once school started, we did lose a few students, which will allow us to reopen admissions at the mid-year for freshmen, which is good.
How many, we were saying our top was going to be 350. What did you end up with for October 1?
I think it says 339 there.
Well, that's
Pull it up.
That's a lot, 11.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get it back up in January.
Yeah.
How many are still on remote 100%?
Right now in the remote, who went full remote, I think we were at I haven't looked at it this week. Katie Jensen is in charge of that, but I think we were in the low 140s last week. And students are still coming back from remote. Some students are moving. That's a moving target too right now. But right around 140, which is about what we had anticipated based on our survey over the summer. It said about 12%.
Any more questions?
What are we, in terms of admissions, I'm sure that tours have been at least put on hold.
Yeah.
Because they should be starting.
Yeah. So we're looking at doing everything virtually right now. Normally our open house would be November 1st. We would, the first Sunday of November. We met with Mr. Purcelli, who's doing some videos for us. We're looking at completely revamping it. We've looked at colleges, how they're doing it, other high schools, for some models, and we're trying to just increase the access on an ongoing basis, starting in early November all the way through the winter, so that students have an opportunity to see the school virtually, meet with people virtually, talk to us, that sort of thing, posting some videos. So we're trying to put out that information as much as we can, but on an ongoing basis, instead of a one-time open house event, which I know we're going to do something around that, but we're going to just continue that through the November, December, when normally tours would be happening.
Okay. Thanks, Patty.
Anything else? Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
Moving on to the admission policy statement from Desi. Maureen, do you want to?
Sure, I'll have Patty jump on too.
Okay.
So many of the vocational schools, we're having to make some adjustments to our admissions policy, because obviously we don't have dates for the second half or the fourth year. So this is what that would be able to use. moving forward while we're scoring admissions. Are there any questions? This has been approved by DESE. Again, they're doing this with all the vocational schools that have an admissions policy.
Maureen, should we add this sort of as an addendum to that? We're probably going to be taking it off.
Yes.
All right, so I would move acceptance of DESE's policy addition as an addendum to our policy.
I second that.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, do we have to do a reading and waive all of the conditions if we're actually making it a real policy?
This is a mandate, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's an addendum. We're not totally scrapping it. We're having to make adjustments due to COVID.
Okay.
And I'll just say it's specific to this period of time in the language. So it's not a permanent change. The language actually specifies the school years that it impacts based on the COVID closure period.
Any more discussion? Questions? Okay, we have to do a roll call vote for this. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Lavella,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testerberry,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mrs. True.
Yes.
Okay, move on now. Vocational Technical Coordinator, Mr. Moskovich. Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, school committee member, and Superintendent Lynch. Opportunity to send my first report to you. I believe you all have received my report in your packet. And Kevin Williams is going to put the slides up on the screen. And we can go ahead through this report. So the first is the coordinated program review. At this time, the safety survey report response has been delayed. The officer from DESE has not even been in the office since March. So put that off for being completed. Will be done by December 1st. It is being worked on, and almost every little thing that was on the report that needed mitigation has been taken care of. Some good measures that we have implemented for COVID-19. We have added some barriers to plexiglass barriers to the workbenches, tables that are in the shop, technical areas, to cut down on exposure from students talking and doing the class shop work every day. We also have purchased, our party has purchased some pump type spray bottles with the disinfection liquid in it.
Can I just interrupt, Paul? We can barely hear you. Can you speak up? So use your teacher voice.
I'll go a little louder because I think I can be loud. We've added some plexiglass barriers.
That's much better. Thank you.
To the shop areas for workbenches, tables, to just cut down on the students being within 6 feet of each other and allowing that extra barrier from plexiglass barrier to help out with any kind of contamination. We also purchased spray bottles that are pump type spray bottles so that shop teachers, instructors can spray down hand tools, toolboxes, and anything that's in the area of the shop that needs to be disinfected every day. If you go to the next slide, is the capital skills grant. 2020 update from the HVAC skills grant. Some of the equipment that was purchased in this grant is self-contained heat pumps. These heat pumps will actually heat the HVAC department. So the equipment that was purchased will also heat that area. And the students will be working on those heat pumps and keeping them going. Also high efficiency gas lab, which includes 3 boilers and 2 gas furnaces. A Liebert environmental unit. They're high-tech heating, cooling, and humidifying units. Mitsubishi ductless split units were also purchased, and those also heat, cool, and humidify. A brand new walk-in freezer was purchased, along with an industrial ice machine. Refrigerant trainers, there's actually 24 training units that the students all can work on separately. And the oil heat lab was purchased 5 boilers, 4 furnaces, and a control system. At this time, there are some pieces of equipment that will need to be hooked up because of the fact that we got shut down in March. This was something that students were going to be working on, and we're just catching up with that right now. But it's looking really nice, and the shop looks really, really good. Next slide is the YMCA Whittier Early Education Center. We opened up the center this school year, and at this time there's 21 full-time and part-time participating children in the YMCA center. This year, Superintendent Lynch opened up opportunities for our staff to be able to have their children attend. So the early learning program, there are 4 children, students that are there. And in the school age learning area, there's actually 8 students there that different situations where the students may have been fully remote and their parents are here at the school working, so the students are there learning remotely. The next slide, we can talk about co-op. So, you look at the co-op numbers as of October 14th, I believe on your report that you have in front of you, only 20 students, but in just 1 week, we've had 11 students added to the co-op program. We have implemented new co-op COVID-19 controls. One of them is a permissions form that not only does the parent agree, the student agree, and also the employer agrees that they will participate in co-op during the pandemic. We also have a Massachusetts generated COVID-19 control plan that we use as a checklist. And when the co-op liaisons or the senior teacher goes for pre-employment site check, we use this checklist to make sure that these companies, these employers are actually using the control plans that they have implemented and following them for the safety of our students. We're hoping that, you know, we can catch up to the 200 plus students that we usually have at this time out on co-op, but because of the situation, you can see why things are going a little bit slow, and we want to make sure everything's just right. The 1-year graduate follow-up survey, the class of 2019, was a 99% positive placement rate. And we heard from 315 out of 316 alumni from 2019, so that survey was very positive. The next slide is a new program that we implemented this year. It's hot work certification. If you're not familiar with hot work, it's a new law that is it was generated because of the horrible fire that happened in Boston in 2017 with 2 firefighters died in a blaze. And the blaze was caused by welders putting a fire escape on the outside of the building. The sparks got into the building, and the building caught fire, and the fire was empty, but the fire department did not know that, and they went inside the building and they perished there. So this new law is going to be implemented in 2021, that all students that are participating in the co-op program that fall under the guidelines of hot work, which basically is any trade areas that produce a spark, will need to be certified to go on co-op. We certified 21 vocational staff members, so they will be trained the trainer, so they'll now be able to train their students. We also certified 7 of the maintenance department and 2 transportation department employees. This is approved by the National Fire Protection Association and Massachusetts Fire Protection Association. The cost is $5 per certification, which Bay Path Vocational Technical High School has taken upon the task of printing the cards and sending them to the school, and then the instructors will then hand them out to the students. And that is about all I have for the report. I will say that I have attended Zoom meetings, vocational technical coordinators meetings. It's every 2 weeks. And I also have attended the co-op coordinators meetings. We hired 6 co-op liaisons, and they are going to be working in all the different trade areas to get the paperwork right and get the students out of co-op. Answer any questions that you might have right now.
Paul, on the hot work certification, who initially did the certifications?
I did myself. I did it through the National Fire Protection Agency. And I got the certification, and then I was able to train staff.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. The co-op students, is that kind of spread out through many shops, or are there more of a group from one particular shop that are out on the co-op?
Right now, Allied Health has a good group of students on co-op. And we're just picking away. There's carpentry, electrical, plumbing, marketing. So it's kind of starting to spread now that we have. And we wanted to make sure the students are able to figure out the hybrid model that we're using here, and then we start getting them out on co-op.
Excellent.
Charlie?
Are we still involved in the Habitat for Humanity project in Salisbury?
So at this time, we're not doing any outside projects because there would be an issue with busing the students there. And so we were asked to come back, but we just told them that at this time we wouldn't be able to do it.
Good, good. Thank you.
Mr. James? You got to turn your unmute.
Paul, did we run into trouble with the CPR review?
No, honestly, I've been involved with 2 of these reports in the last week, and there was a few things that we needed to take care of, but it was basically signage.
Okay.
And some just very small items.
Okay.
Maureen?
So I just want to welcome Paul to the team. He had very large shoes to fill of Mr. Salvo, and he is filling them. I just really appreciate his work ethic and his hard work. And he's been at Whittier for how long have you been at Whittier, Paul?
5 years.
How many?
5 years.
Yeah, so 25 years. So, we're excited to have him on board as an administrator. So thanks for all your hard work, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, principals report. Chris is not available tonight, so we'll move on to the business manager's report. Kara?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Superintendent Lynch, members of the committee. It's October, and so that means it is time for us to update the 5-year capital plan. And you have that in your packet. And as you know, it serves as a planning document, and we update this each year, and it projects the district's capital needs over a 5-year period, and we use it in our budget development process. You may have noticed that several items on the capital plan, a lot of them actually, have the notation that says pending MSBA next to them. And so we're currently in the eligibility phase of that project, but we expect that most, if not all of those items will be addressed when we get into the feasibility and progress with the building project. On a note, and Mr. Moskovich touched on one of the more recent grants, to date, we have received over $1.2 million in state funding, and that has assisted us with so many of our capital needs. And we will continue to pursue those grants and other alternate funding sources so that we can purchase as many of our capital assets as possible with non-district funds if they're available. So I welcome any questions you might have on the 5-year capital plan. Mr. Lutella.
Under athletics,
Yes,
what's the 300,000?
that is for phase 3 of the turf project. If you remember, we broke it into 3 phases for
Yeah.
budgeting purposes. And this was for the finalization of the track, which is done.
Oh,
And,
good.
some of the beautification pieces that we are planning to do out by the field. We got donation of pavers and things like that. So when we're able to do those projects, we'll be doing some work down that way. But the track has been finished, so that was basically phase 3 of this 3-year project.
But that was part of the original budget.
It was, but we, as you know, for finance purposes and for capital assessment to our communities,
Right.
we budgeted it over 3 of our fiscal years, and we paid for it over 3 of our fiscal years. So this was the final payment, so to speak, the final part of the project.
So is that project considered complete?
I think that it's pretty much considered complete. I'm waiting for the architect to sign off. I think there was very little retainage when I saw the invoice from the contractor. I think there might have been less than $10,000 of retainage left, which tells me that they pretty much finished everything, but I will be following up with them to see if there is a punch list. I know that actually we hired a firm to come in and do annual maintenance to keep that turf looking tip top. And they came in today, and I know Mr. Hardy was with them. So I'm sure he'll be telling me tomorrow, what their opinion was and making sure that we keep everything down there in as great a condition as possible.
Do you know if we used any of the contingency funds?
I do not believe that we needed to. We had very, very few change orders to this project, which I was really happy about. And most of them had to do with things with the land that we couldn't have anticipated, some of the unexpected things. And whenever you do a project like that, or you dig into the ground or do a building, there are things that you don't know until you get into the project. So very, very few change orders.
So you think we'll be receiving a final report?
I will follow up with that. Yes, we should be getting a final report from the architect.
Thank you.
Gary, did you have a question?
No, Charlie asked a question I was gonna
Okay.
ask.
Any more questions or discussion?
This 26,000 for the gym floor. It's time to refurbish that already?
Every 5 to 7 years, we actually have them go in and they refurbish the gym floor. Every summer, they go in and they refinish it, like they put new, like you're touching up a wood floor. But every 5 to 7 years, they actually go in and they do a really deep down job on the floor. So yes, the first time they did it, I think, was when I started about 7-8 years ago, and it is time to do it again.
So that's the preventive maintenance.
Absolutely. It keeps that floor looking really good.
Good.
I had a question on the field. What's the annual cost for the maintenance of the field? Just out of
I
curiosity.
think it's $3,500 and they come at least once a year. If not, they might come quarterly. I'm not sure, but it's $3,500 or thereabouts.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No? Thank you, Kara.
Okay.
On the buses, we're replacing them every year. Is that part of the original plan?
The plan is to replace our vehicles on a 5-year rotation. So that's what you see in the 5-year capital plan, is the 5-year rotation, the vans and the buses.
Okay,
Okay?
just
And-
money.
Well, the lease is a 5-year lease as well. So
Yeah.
we're keeping the buses that we own on the same schedule. But they don't all come at the same time, Mr. Lavella. You know, we've spaced them out, so we replace 2 a year or 1 a year so that they're not all coming at the same time.
Do you know what the cost is at the end of the lease?
There is no cost because we turn the buses in and we get a new.
But if you wanted to buy one of the buses that was being turned in, are they in too bad a shape?
I don't know, but I know the Department of Transportation does not recommend that you keep vehicles longer than 6 or 7 years. So if they're 5 years, I would not recommend purchasing any of them unless we would get a really good price and just use it as a spare. I'm very pleased with the fact that Whittier's buses are never more than 5 years old.
So we're still rotating the routes to keep them all in the
Correct.
same mileage.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So if there are no other questions on the 5-year capital plan, I'll quickly review the variance analysis. This is for July through September. You will notice that several salary accounts look like they're either over or under, and that is because we budgeted based on a typical school year. And what we have is a hybrid school year. So we've redeployed many staff members. As you know, we have eliminated some programs for this year. So the superintendent did what was needed in order to best meet the current hybrid instructional model. So as things continue to settle down, when I feel that everything is kind of settled and in place, I will bring you a transfer request at a future school committee meeting, and that will balance the salary accounts. What I can say is that there are definitely sufficient funds in the accounts with balances to offset the overages in the other salary accounts. So does anybody have questions on that report?
What's going on with the daycare? Are we running that or not?
Yes, Mr. Moskovich reported on that in his report.
Yeah, but is that working out, I mean?
Yes, it seems to be.
So the really nice thing about it this year is that staff whose children are in hybrid, they're able to bring their child here to Whittier, and have the Y help those kids during the hybrid while the teachers are teaching in the building. So it's really worked out very nicely this year. I really should thank the Y. They really have been phenomenal to work with in helping, our students and our staff. So thanks.
If there are no questions on variance analysis.
I have a quick question. On the this year, with the situation the way it is, do we have a list of substitutes, or are we filling that in-house? If someone calls in sick, is someone manning that from the administrative staff or in-house, or we still have a list of subs? And is that account obviously been saved?
So we have subs that we have asked to come in every day. So we have what we call building subs this year. So I believe we have 4. And, as teachers, are sick or need personal days, we've been able to do that coverage. So far, so good with that.
And they're familiar with the Google and the classroom access?
They went through the 15 days, or I shouldn't say all 10 days of professional development, but they went through many. So yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you.
And again, the funding for that, Mr. Irving, will come from the funding that would have been used for day-to-day subs. So we're replacing one with the other. Any other questions on the variance analysis?
What about the revenue? Is that still on par or are we getting delays?
Are you talking about in terms of state funding?
No, cities and towns.
We have received all the assessments that were due to us in August, so that's on
Great.
par. And they received notifications once you reduced the budget last month, that their future assessments will be reduced by the assessment reductions that you approved last month.
Okay.
Everything's on par.
Good
I have
job.
one more follow-up item. As you recall, in July at the school committee meeting, I had requested that Whittier enter into a net metering agreement with Haverhill AD1 LLC, and that would authorize the purchase of approximately 3,200,000 kilowatts of electricity credits. And that project was expected to result in annual savings of between $80,000 and $100,000 in our school's electricity costs. And at that time, you authorized me to enter into the agreement pending a review from our attorney. And I'm happy to report that he has thoroughly reviewed the contract. He asked us to make a couple of tweaks. We did that with the vendor. He reviewed it again. He deemed everything satisfactory, and we are in the process of finalizing the contract with the vendor as we speak. So I just wanted to follow up with that with the school committee.
Good.
And
Can you
that's
send me a copy of that?
Excuse me?
Would it be possible to get a copy of the pending contract?
Once I get the executed copy back from the vendor, certainly.
Thank you.
And that's my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Carol.
Good report.
Okay, moving on. Committee chairperson, November annual agenda items. There'll be a review of curriculum, collective bargaining.
Joanne? Excuse me, Joanne, do we have a date for instructional?
No. No, I think Maureen wanted to wait till maybe this meeting to decide.
Okay. Sorry, Brett.
Okay, we've got collective bargaining contracts, review and update of technology plan. And now we have to designate a delegate and vote on it for MASC conference. Is that conference, what's happening with that, Maureen?
By Zoom, I believe. It's by Zoom. They can't meet in person, so.
They're gonna Zoom it.
There'll be a meeting, I think, the 7th of November in Worcester.
Do we have someone that would like to be the delegate?
I'm willing to continue that. I've been there before, so I'm willing to continue.
Okay.
The will of the body.
Have we done an alternate in the past, David, or?
Yes, usually an alternate.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. No, but even if I was, obviously she shouldn't be cooking defense.
Joanne, are you willing to be an alternate?
Sister, of course
She's muted.
She defends Brianna everything. So,
Joanne's muted.
Joanne, you have to unmute.
Unmute.
There it is.
There you go.
Oh, I'm back. Yes, I'd be happy to be the alternate.
Okay. So we have to vote on that. So I guess we'll have a motion, Mr. Irving to be the delegate and Dr. Testaverde to be the alternate delegate.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Roll call. Vote. Mr. Early.
He's muted.
He's muted.
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
yes.
Mr. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mr. Lavella.
Yes.
Mr. Irving.
Abstain.
Dr. Testaverde.
Yes,
Mr. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mr. James.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Ms. True.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Lisa, could you send that in so we can get the Zoom link? All right, thank you.
yeah, I would like to make sure that we can have all the information to be able to watch the whole meeting with the resolutions, et cetera, et cetera.
What is the date for that?
November 7th, I believe.
November 7th?
November 7th, okay.
We'll move on to subcommittee reports. Executive, we have not met. I don't know if there's any need for a meeting at this time. Okay, thanks. Instructional personnel, Dr. Testaverde?
We haven't met either, and basically because of everything that was going on, and Maureen had suggested that we get a feel of what was happening and how the school year was going. Maybe we should have a pre-meeting, we should have a meeting before the committee meeting next month and get a total update. Maureen, what's your thoughts?
October 28th sound.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
October 28th.
We have a meeting on, did we have something set? No, but we're setting it now? October 28th?
We did mention that, I think.
Okay. At what time, Maureen?
Again,
I can't hear. What time?
6:30.
6:30? Okay,
That's good.
all right. And we will Zoom, Kevin will do the magic and get it all running?
And Lisa.
Lisa,
As usual.
of course.
All right.
Okay.
Plant operations, Mr. Tucker's not available. I think they're up pretty much caught up with plant operations. I don't think there's a meeting required. Okay. Salary negotiations, Mr. Early.
Nothing at this time, Mr. Superintendent. When do you think we're going to have to start our meetings?
I actually think it would be a bad idea for us to have a meeting on November 4th. It'd be the Wednesday before the next school committee meeting.
Are we going to have it virtual or are we going to have it there?
If we can find a big enough space, we can certainly do it, at Whittier.
Yeah, like at the auditorium.
Yeah, we'll use the auditorium.
No, I don't know.
It doesn't matter where we have it.
That's really your decision about where you want to have the meeting.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So why don't we say for November 4th, and then we'll decide as time goes on where we should have it. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Yes.
Yep.
Do you have excuse me, did you have a time that you had in mind, Maureen?
6:30 again?
Yes, okay. I just want to check. Okay.
All right, we have minutes to vote on for salary negotiations that are in the packet. Do we have a motion, Mr. Early?
I make a motion to accept.
A second.
A second.
Roll call vote. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. LaBella,
Yes,
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes,
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
and Mrs. True.
Yes.
Okay, next, policy, Mr. Irving.
Mr. Chairman, we have not met. We'll probably need a meeting prior to January, which annual agenda time for reviewing policy. So if the superintendent has anything, we'll make a report in January. So probably in December, we'll need a meeting.
Okay, we'll set that date next month, David.
Yeah, see what the superintendent has, what's coming down the line.
Okay. All right, move on to meeting dates. Our next school committee meeting is on Thursday, November 12th at 6:30. Not Wednesday.
is there a reason why we're going on Thursday and not Wednesday?
Veterans Day.
Oh, it's a holiday. Okay. Makes sense.
oh, it is?
Yeah.
They get my uniform out.
The 11th.
Okay.
All right, new business. There is no new business posted, no executive session posted. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So
Make
moved.
a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna vote on that. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. LaBella,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James, Mr.
Yes.
Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Drew.
Yes.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Thank you.
Have a good, safe
Everyone.
month.
Well.
Thank